Hi guys, welcome back. Well, I've just sharpened this 8mm drill on the surface grinder using the Jones Shipman grinding vise and the indexing head that I made a couple of weeks ago now, and this is the first drill that I've tried on it, and that you just saw was the first hole that I drilled, and I'm extremely pleased with it. I'd put a small pilot hole through first. It wasn't straight through with the 8mm, but yeah, it cut nice and evenly. No wonder. So it looks like I've got the 60 degrees bang on in the centre. So yeah, and that was the first try, guys. I'll go over to the surface grinder now and show you the setup. But if you're new to my videos, guys, let me just explain what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. First up, I'd picked this Jones Shipman grinding vise up from the clearance sale. I didn't initially go for this. There was other equipment I was picking up, but on the way out I saw this and it was for sale, so I'd picked that up. Now unfortunately the swivel base that originally came with these vices was missing, so I didn't have that. So over the last week or so I've been making a swivel base for it. Now at the moment it's just set square on the bed of the grinder. I've got the base set at 90 degrees to the bed, and even though it's a swivel base, I've got it set at 0. The markings are on this top piece. I've got it set at 0, and the reason for that is when that's set at 0, I know that the degrees marked on the rotating part of the vise are correct. So if that's on 0 and I have that set on 30, I know that angle then is 30 degrees. So the swivel base is being used, even though I'm not swiveling on it. Right, that's the vise. Now the indexing head, this is a piece of scaffolding tube. I ground 4 flats on it at 90 degrees. Inside there's an Ericsson, I believe it's a DA180 collet chuck, and that's mounted into, it's a 25mm shank, straight shank, 6 inches long, and the shank is mounted into 2 bearings that are fitted into these 2 collars. I had to put the collar on because the only bearing that I could find with a 25mm diameter inner, if I remember rightly, it's a 47mm external, and the tubing was just under that diameter. So I welded on 2 collars, then bored them out to the 47. That's the reason for the collars. What that means is then I've had to use 2 spacers in the chuck jaws to be slightly wider than this collar. Without the spacers, the vise wouldn't close up onto the 4 flats that I'd ground onto the tube. So that's the setup with that, guys. I've got an indexing plate at this side, 24 equally spaced holes, and then on this part, on the outside of the collar, I've got 4 markings at 90 degrees. So there's a 6mm Allen-headed bolt at this side. The 24 holes are just 6mm straight through, and then at the top I've got a 6mm threaded hole, so when the screw goes through, it bites into this collar. Taking the screw out allows me then to rotate the spindle, and for drills I'll just use two of the markings at 180 degrees. It's a DA 180 collet chuck, and fortunately I picked up some collets that came with the chucks that I bought off eBay, so I've got a decent selection of them. The drill that you saw me using earlier, that was 8mm. This is a 6.5, and I've got a collet that suits that. So collet goes in. The grinding wheel I'm using, not quite sure where I picked this up from. I've had it quite a while. It was second hand when I bought it, but it's a dish wheel, and just get you on camera. Yeah, the wheel that I'm using is a dish wheel. I've just had to put a spacer in between the two locking collars, with it being a lot narrower than the normal grinding disc that I use. Just tightening the nut up wasn't gripping it, so this is just a spacer to make up the thickness. Well, I've just been looking online, guys, for the geometry of the twist drills, and I already knew that angle was 60 degrees, so that's the reason for having the swivel round at 30 degrees, and then once I'd ground one side, one face, spin it round 180, do the other side. That then gives me the 60 degrees included angle. But I wasn't sure what this relief angle would be. You've got the cutting edge, and then you've got a relief angle at the back, so the drill doesn't scrape as it's cutting. And I wasn't sure what that was. And without checking, the first drill that I did, I had it set at 3 degrees. Now, looking online, from what I've seen and been able to find, it should be 7 degrees. So I'm just changing I've put the second drill in. I'm just going to change the angle of this now. I'm not relying on the degrees marked on the collar. I'm just going to use this digital one, so get this up to 7. I wouldn't have thought it was as deep as 7, but that's what it says online, so I'm going to take their word for it. Right, so we've got a slope now of 7 degrees. I'm just going to lock this nut up at the back. Right. I bought a couple of diamond grinding discs for a while, and I'd made an arbor for the centre hole, and been using these on the lathe. But I think those would be a possibility for using on the surface grinder. The spindle on the grinder is 25mm diameter, and the plastic spacers I believe are 31.5. This hole's less than 1 inch at the moment, so what I'm thinking of is I might mount that on the lathe, drill that centre out to the 31.5, and then I can use the plastic spacers. That then would fit onto the spindle of the grinder. So that's a possibility. Right, I'm having a quick brew, guys, and I'll be back. Right, guys, I've had a quick brew, and I hope you don't mind. I dunked a couple of chocolate digestives, so, but had the decency to do that off camera. Now, I've not forgotten about the robot build. I've not done anything with it for possibly over a month now, but I've not forgotten about it, and I've just had a new delivery of some resin. This is a 1 gallon kit. Now, up to now I've not been loyal to one brand of the resins. I've been trying different ones. The Vista one is one I've had a couple of deliveries of that, and I found that to be working okay. But what I've been tending to do is when I look on Amazon, from time to time you get a special offer on with them, and I've been picking them up when there's been a discount on them. Now this one, there was 20% off it for the 1 gallon kit, so this time I've gone for this one. I think this is the 3rd or 4th brand that I've been using now, and I've not found any difference in the final results. One difference I have found is, let me just move this. The only difference that I've found up to now is the viscosity of the liquids. The Vista one tends to solidify. It's just liquid at the moment, but it's nowhere. These are both parterres. There's no difference in the final results, it's just when you come to mix them. Now what I've been doing with the Vista is I've been putting this in a bucket of warm water to make it more viscous, and then let it stand for half an hour before I've mixed it with part B. I don't know if you could make that out, guys, on the camera. It's not very liquid, you see. It is moving, but once it's been in a bucket of water, it becomes far more viscous, and that's when I've been mixing it. This new one that I've picked up, I've not opened this one yet. This is part A, but that's a lot more freely moving. So another difference is this is equal parts, equal part A to equal part B by volume, and the Vista is 1 part to half a part. 1 part of A, half a part of B, and I measure that out by weight on some kitchen scales. So that's the main difference between the resins. Now I've got the arms and legs to cast for the robot build, and what I intend doing, I've picked up this plastic tubing. I'm going to put a smaller diameter tubing in the centre, seal the bottom off, and then pour the resin in that, I don't want to fill it completely with resin because I'll have to drill the centre of it out and it'll just be a waste of resin, so I'm going to put a smaller diameter tube in the centre. Cut this down to length. The arms and legs will be in two lengths, so I'm going to cast it in one piece and then cut it down the centre to give me the two sections, and then it won't polishing up, and that should form the arms and legs. Probably go for the same diameter on the arms and legs. I don't think I'll use a thicker tube for the legs. So yeah, I've not forgotten about the robot build, guys. I've just been busy doing other things. Okay, I've spun the drill round 180 degrees. I've not changed the position of the table, so when I do a full pass with the table on the grinding wheel, that should then give me the equal angle on both facets of the drill. Well, if you don't get the drill ground so the 60 degrees are equal from the centre of the drill and the point that you've ground is on the centre line of the drill, when you come to use the drill it'll tend to wander, because it'll always want to drill where the point is. So a way of checking that, if you haven't got the angle finder, is 2 nuts held together. That will give you 60 degrees there. Just hold the drill up towards it and see that the centre of the drill is in the centre of the 2 nuts. So we seem to be good there. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Next time I want to try and regrind some end mills. See you soon.